So in this segment of the stream, what I'd like to do is just go over 3 GBP pairs, all 3 that presented the D1 entry this morning before I was awake. But I know some of you guys that are in ASFX that are in the group chat. I saw Tom hit GBP CHF. I know a couple of the other guys did as well. So I want to review these trades and just show you how similar they are and how the D1 entry, which is one of the 3 strategies that we teach and trade, how repeatable it is. These are technical patterns. And when you're trading a market like Forex, that is a technically driven market, these patterns repeat almost every day. I don't want to promise anybody that you're going to find great trades every day, but you'll definitely find great trades like this, if not every day, every other day, or every few days. Now, this week's been a little choppy. It is NFP week, which is the first week of the month. We know that's going to be choppy. But today, we've had multiple D1 entries present. So if you were patient all week, I know James had his first trade today on EuroCAD. We can even throw that one in the mix and go over that since it's correlated to GCAD. So you're going to see how all of these look very similar. And if you want to learn how to trade this D1 strategy, I'm going to put links in the description. You might have just missed a big sale that we were running, but still a good time. You know, now is the day. There's that TikTok video where it's like, I wish I would have started when I was younger. And then Joe Rogan comes on and he starts talking. He's like, yeah, but today's the best day to start. You know what I'm saying? I should make that for like a trading thing. That'd be a good TikTok for me to make, or a good Instagram reel. Anyway, let's go into this. Let's start with GBP NZD because this was one of the cleanest ones. As we all know, if you don't know, the first thing we do when we come to the desk every day is we look at the market sentiment line on the TDI. You can see here, holding above that dotted line, that's the 50 value. Being in the buy zone all day, if I move my head, you'll see. Being above that 50 value right here, that's feeding the long bias. The EMAs today, also feeding the long bias with the 800 EMA on the bottom. Here overnight during the Asian session, you have the 50 crossing up through the 200 EMA, which is bullish as well. So when the guys came to the desk this morning, they're looking at this very clearly feeding the long bias as prices making higher highs and higher lows. Now coming off that 50 and the 200 here at about 330, 335, 345 my time, this starts to shift up with that 8 and 21 EMA cross. That's the short-term shift. And now that that's in play, we could consider looking for A1s and D1s. Now, this as a whole is not an A1 entry. That's one of the strategies that we teach. That's our beginner strategy. It's taught in the beginner course. This is not an A1 3-candle formation. You can't have a 3-candle formation until you have your shift. This is your shift, the 8 and 21 crossing up here. So first you get your shift. So since we have no A1 entry there, you guys were looking at the 1 minute for the D1 entry. Now, if you just zoom out, we're looking at the 1 minute on the left side, 15 minute on the right side. You'll see this white line that I drew, if I sync this up, comes right here off that 15 minute 200 EMA, 15 minute 50 EMA. That's showing you the bullish divergence. Now, we don't just buy it because we see the bullish divergence. If I blow up the 1 minute full screen, where we're looking for that entry is on that 50 EMA retest with the L50 in the buy zone. Just giving you a super gold nugget right there. That's like one of the main things we focus on in the course. There's, of course, a checklist that you use to get in, and there's other questions to ask yourself. But we're looking for 50 EMA, which is the light blue line retest on the 1 minute with the L50, the yellow line here, in the buy zone. Stop at the most recent structure point. Here, there is no recent structure point, so Tom and everybody who traded this put the stop at the bottom, which I'm fine with because that is the very bottom. If it broke this divergence low, you would not want it anymore. It would be moving lower or sideways. But if you take your entry here, the reason why we like that entry is because if the L50 holds the buy zone above that dotted line, that 50 value, again, here's that 50 right here. See how that L50 stays in the buy zone here? That tells us to stay in the trade. And that's why this trade ends up running beautifully here. From the entry at 4:45 all the way 3 hours to 7:45, just about. It's a really, really nice trade. And even here still, as the L50 is starting to come down, you could have your stop loss. You should have your stop loss locked in profit and could still have a piece on. Now, why Tom and some of the other guys got full out of this trade, if we go back to the 15 minute and turn on ADR, you can see the green horizontal line there. That's the average daily range for today, 137 pips. It got very, very close to that ADR level, which is a great place to exit the trade. He risked 30 pips. He makes almost 80. It's 2.4, 2.3 R. It's a great trade. So this is one of the D1 entries that presented this morning. If there's any questions about this, put them in the comments. If not, just keep listening. I'm going to show you a few more. Now, GBP AUD, you can see it looks almost identical. Here, market sentiment is very bullish. You can see over the 50 value. EMAs here are also bullish. EMAs have been bullish here actually longer. Remember how on GN, if you look, the 50 had to cross up over the 200 right here. If you look at GBP AUD, it was already crossed up from yesterday. So again, waiting for the upshift, not trading it as an A1 because the RSI probably wasn't through there. So you're just waiting. If there's 1 minute divergence here at the 50, we can go in and trade this as a D1, anticipating it to hold the 1 minute L50 in the buy zone and for 15-minute price action to hold the 8 EMA, that yellow line. So again, if I blow up the 1 minute, well, first I'll show you where the divergence is. You can see the rising RSI, the falling price action with my white line right here at that 15-minute 50, which is a fantastic level for the D1. And then again, with patience, you let that set up. You let it put in the higher low right here. You let it retest and come back through the 50 EMA with the L50 in the buy zone. Position is put on there. Stop doesn't need to go at this low at the white line because here's a higher low. So you can actually put the stop loss, as you can see, right at this pin right here. That's your stop. And then again, look at the L50, holding the buy zone, holding the buy zone. Even here as it dips into the sell zone, your stop loss would be locked in profit at that point and already because it's already moved over 1R in this first pop. So your stop is locked. You can hold in for a second, and then you get that full continuation here. Now, how would you know to hold in? Watch the 15-minute. As this 1 minute L50 dips into the sell zone right here at 608, that's right here as it's pulling back to the 8 EMA, which is a level that you know it can hit and come back off of and continue trend. So don't just bail, especially if it's moved over 1R for you. Lock your stop, take some off as you should, according to our rules that we teach in the course, and then just be a little bit more patient. Once you've already taken profit, I wouldn't just bail if the 1 minute drops into the opposite zone. I would be more focused on the 15-minute price action. So there you guys can see again, divergence, 58 EMA retest after the 15-minute upshift with a clear 15-minute trend. These are great setups. This is what we would wait all week for. So I'm really glad that you guys took advantage of this. And it's very similar to my trade on the NASDAQ today, right? Just to go back to that one more time to show you, it's just the opposite. Divergence is on top here on the left side on the 1 minute, lower high, L50 holds the sell zone, entry here off the 50 as the L50 is in the sell zone, and L50 just drops and the trade drops. And then look at price action here, holding the 8 EMA, so I'm still in the trade. It's the same pattern on indexes and on Forex here. So now to go to GCAD, this one's a little bit trickier. You can see this doesn't have as nice of a move. It actually comes all the way down through the 200 to the 800. So if we go on to the 1 minute, the divergence is actually way back here at about 2 in the morning. It's here off that 800. So what we would do in a situation like this is we would wait for the 15-minute upshift. James knows all about this. We wait for that 15-minute 8 and 21 EMA cross there. Then we will look for the entry on the 1 minute if the L50 has held the buy zone the entire time. That's the key. Notice from when the divergence is in play, the 1 minute yellow line, the L50, gets in the buy zone, holds the buy zone, holds the buy zone, holds the buy zone, all the way until recently at 8:15. It finally, you can see right here, that L50 comes under the 50 value, that dotted line, right? You see that? So if you go back and you just are looking at this, holding the buy zone, once we get the upshift, if we sync up my little circle here, once we get the upshift on the 15-minute, which is right here, we can look to take 50 EMA retests after that, anticipating it to hold the 8 EMA and continue higher. So where I would look for entry if I was trading this would be somewhere in here at about 438, going into that 445 candle, coming off that 50 EMA. And I would not put my stop right here. That's too recent. I would zoom back out. I would see this pin right here as a higher low, about 17 pips away. Let's sync this up to the right side. Extend that out. So you got a 17 pip stop. It runs about 4.2R for you. That stop is in a great position, not just because it's that structure point, but because if it was to come down there, it would be coming down through the 8, 21, 50, and headed towards the 200 EMA, which is something I would not want to be long in anymore at all. So the stop is in a great spot. The risk reward is great because you know that if it can break out past this Asia high, it's going to continue to run. And then you're just patient, trading that 8 and 21 EMA shift using the 1 minute L50 to tell you that you're in a good trade. See how that L50 just continues to rise? That's the only thing I'm looking at on the market sentiment line is the 1 minute L50. Or excuse me, the only thing I'm looking at on the 1 minute chart is the 1 minute L50. Okay. There's GA. I take it since, or excuse me, that's GCAD. We already did GA. We already did GN, and you saw the NASDAQ. We're about 3 minutes away from the stock market open, so we're going to see if this trade comes up and stops me out in profit or if it shoots lower. And then the last thing I want to do is just look at James's version of this. So again, the market sentiment line here, not as clean on the 15-minute as it was on the GBP pairs. But James is an advanced trader for sure. He sees the market sentiment move up. We saw, remember yesterday, we were talking about how this could hold this zone from Tuesday, hold it on Wednesday, come higher. It's what it did. Hit the 200 last night. Looks like it wants to make a move off of that. So what James did, even though the market sentiment dips into the sell zone here, he'll go to the 1 minute. He'll find the divergence on the bottom here. Whoops, don't want that. He sees it like this. Price is falling. You start with the RSI low. I just started on price action because I know what I'm doing. RSI is rising. Price is falling. He sees that. He sees, if you look, higher low here. Continues to make higher lows off that. Another higher low here. So where James took his position this morning, and then you get, of course, your 8 and 21 EMAs cross up. He's waiting for that before he takes the entry. So he synced that up. That's right here. He could either have taken his entry here with a stop loss at this structure point right here. But what he instead did was he waited a little bit longer. I think he got in here, and he ended up putting his stop not even at this recent structure point. He went back one further, which I agree with because it was only about 13 pips. That 13 pip entry, L50's in the buy zone, holding the 50 EMA. You would just expect that L50 to hold. It runs 2.6, almost, nope, look at that, 2.8 R for him very quickly. Comes back to his entry, and he'd still be in profit if he was holding, but he probably already snagged and bagged this. So again, divergence on the bottom, coming off the significant level, 15-minute upshift, trading that 1-minute L50 if it's in the proper zone, using the 50 EMA retest for structure. I just gave you guys so much good information. I should end the stream right here because that was like a mini course in itself right there. So if you want to rewatch that, take some notes. That's a really good introduction to the way that we trade the D1 strategy. And if you want to learn more, take the courses, join the team. It's a one-time fee, lifetime access. You can ask me questions, trade with us every day. I share all this stuff in the Discord chat as it's happening. So yeah, we're going over it in hindsight here, but in the Discord, we're all communicating through each one of these ideas as they present. Even when I'm asleep, the guys are doing it without me in the Discord chat, which is exactly why it's what I wanted. That's why we built it the way that we built it. So there's your little D1 recap on the day.